Kyle McCord is off to the NFL draft, and his replacement, a redshirt freshman transfer from LSU named Ricky Collins, who was 5 for 5 in his only attempts on the season last year. Uh, I mean, he's got 100% passing completion. If he keeps that up, he'll be the greatest quarterback in college football history. That being said, with the number of times that Syracuse likes to throw the ball each game, odds of that happening are just about zero. Schedule is not looking easy whatsoever. They got Tennessee up first, and then Clemson, SMU, and Notre Dame. Those are four playoff teams from last year. That's not even mentioning some other teams in the ACC that are going to be tough outs like Duke, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and Miami. Basically, the whole schedule is a game to watch out for Syracuse. 6 games at home, 5 on the road. That neutral site is in Atlanta against Tennessee. This schedule, very difficult. We're going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
And Syracuse better be happy that Nico Iamaleava is transferring out of Tennessee, because if he wasn't, then this schedule difficulty would probably be on par with Florida, who we had as a 9 out of 10. Because starting off with Tennessee, if Nico was still there, would have been much more difficult. But with him entering the transfer portal and likely moving on, it's going to be a little bit different, but we're going off based off what we had right after the 2024 season ended, which was with Nico Iamaleava still returning as the Tennessee quarterback. So a 20% chance doesn't fully reflect how we think Syracuse is going to do against Tennessee, but Tennessee is still going to be playing in the South. It's going to be surrounded by mostly SEC fans, mostly Tennessee fans in this case. Syracuse making a bit of a road trip down to Atlanta for this one. So a 20% chance for Syracuse in this one. If you want more justification for it, they are losing their starting running back. They're losing a lot of their wide receiver room as well. And Kyle McCord, like Jonah was saying, is the big focal point of their success last season, and he is gone as well. So 20% chance for the Orange here. Then the following week, they go back home to Syracuse to face UConn. UConn was a surprising team last year. They finally got out of the gutter and I believe finished with a winning record and were very, very close to getting to 10 wins. I don't know if they had 9 or 8 wins, but a very solid team compared to what we've seen out of UConn in past years. So I'm expecting UConn to still be just as good. I did a little bit of research on them. I don't know a whole lot of details, but I know they either added someone or have kept a lot of their same production that they had last season. So a lot of returning production. So I think UConn can still be very good against the Syracuse team that's rebuilding a little bit. But Syracuse should be the favorite in this home environment. So a 75% chance for Syracuse here. Following week, playing on a Friday against Colgate. Not much needs to be said here. Colgate stands absolutely no chance against this Orange team. 100% chance for Syracuse here. Now starts a little bit of the gauntlet in the ACC. That begins with a road game against Clemson. Clemson won the ACC last year, beating SMU in that conference championship game. Big story there. Kate Klubnik is returning at starting quarterback, early Heisman favorite, and Dabo Swinney decided to use the transfer portal this season, and Clemson is looking like a very early favorite for the college football playoffs, maybe winning that national championship. With it being on the road, with all that returning production, with Syracuse losing so much, not much of a chance here for the Orange. Clemson's easily going to get the dub here. 15% chance for Syracuse on the road. Following week, they go back home and they face Duke. Now, Duke is losing their starting quarterback in Malik Murphy. He is transferring to Oregon State, but they are bringing in the starting quarterback from Tulane after a very successful season for Tulane and bringing in a couple other very good recruits. After, once again, Duke has had successful seasons in a row for the past couple of years. And I think Duke has once again a very solid chance of staying exactly where they are around that 7 to 9 win threshold. And with Syracuse once again having to rebuild after losing so much, I think Duke is going to be able to get the job done on the road here, especially with, I believe, Mensah is the Tulane quarterback that's transferring, and I believe that's his name. I think he's going to be a stud in this Duke system. So a 35% chance for Syracuse here. This all could change too if the quarterback play is able to improve and develop over the course of the season. But this is a tough stretch of games, so 35% chance once again. Finally, to end the stretch of games before their first bye week, they go on the road to face SMU. Like I said, SMU was the regular season conference champ, had the best record in the ACC last season, did end up losing that game to Clemson in the conference championship game on that walk-off field goal. Then SMU ended up getting blown out in their first round game against Penn State at Beaver Stadium. But returning Kevin Jennings as their starting quarterback after one of their best seasons in program history is a very good start. Good recruiting, good use of the transfer portal for this season. SMU is going to be one of the best teams in the ACC once again. Maybe not as good as Clemson, but still with it being on the road. And that's a bit of a road trip for Syracuse, too. This is going to be, once again, a very difficult game. Only a 25% chance for Syracuse to get the win on the road here.
After the bye week, they're going to be facing Pitt, this one at home, but Pitt bringing back Eli Holstein as well as their starting running back and a good amount of defensive production. They're going to be a pretty solid team in 2025. Even though Syracuse has the home field advantage, it's definitely tough to see them getting this win at home, only about a 40% chance. Then it's going on the road to face Georgia Tech. And we are very, very high on this Georgia Tech team. They've got Haynes King coming back at quarterback. We really like him. And just overall, it's going to be a really solid roster. Georgia Tech, maybe a dark horse in the ACC. That being said, Syracuse, just in my opinion, nowhere near the Yellow Jackets talent wise. So only a 25% chance to win. And then it's Bill Belichick and North Carolina at home. The Tar Heels definitely going to be a tough team to predict in 2025. But I do think that they're going to be pretty solid still. Definitely a range of wins that they can fall into. But no matter what happens, I do think that they're going to end up being better than Syracuse. They should be able to get this win. And it's about a 40% chance for the Orange in this one. Then it's a road trip to Miami. And Miami brings in Carson Beck from the transfer portal. He transferred from Georgia after getting hurt late in the season and not playing in the college football playoffs. Got paid quite a bit of money to go play for the school that his girlfriend goes to, and then his girlfriend ended up breaking up with him. So we'll see how that affects him during the football season. I imagine he should be over it by then. And this is going to be a pretty solid Miami team. So I just really don't see Syracuse winning this one. Again, only a 25% chance, pretty similar to that Georgia Tech game. After the second bye week, another road trip, this time to Notre Dame, who are the defending runners up in the national championship. Very good team once again this season. Obviously, you're losing Riley Leonard to the NFL draft, but Jeremiah Love is back at running back, and he's going to be one of the best running backs in the country. Notre Dame going to be a really solid team once again, definitely one of the favorites to make the college football playoffs. And the fact that this is on the road doesn't make it any easier. Only a 10% chance for Syracuse in this one. And then to close out the year, one of the worst teams in the ACC last season, Boston College, running it back with year 2 of Bill O'Brien as their head coach. They're looking to make some improvements, but they lost their starting quarterback from the beginning of last year, Thomas Castellanos, to the transfer portal after he got hurt pretty early on in the season. They're definitely going to have to replace him. And just overall, the roster is not really where it needs to be. And the fact that Syracuse has home field advantage, we do like them to pick up this win in the ACC at about a 70% chance.
Looking at the schedule as a whole, like we said at the very beginning, there are so many playoff teams from last year and potential playoff teams this year that we think are going to be really, really good going into next season. Most of those games are also on the road for Syracuse. This is a gauntlet of a schedule, especially for such a rebuilding team after their success last year. I'm hoping they're able to figure it out. I'm hoping Ricky Collins is able to develop and really show off his talent at Syracuse. But with this schedule, it's either gonna be really good because they're gonna have to pass the ball so much because they're gonna be down by so much against these teams, or it's gonna be horrible because, like I said, they're gonna have to pass the ball so much and it's just gonna lead to messy turnovers. All in all, this Syracuse team is in for a massive regression from last year. They might cling on to that success. Maybe some things break the right way, but I don't think with this schedule it's going to happen. I see this team barely having a chance at getting a bowl game. I think 5 wins with this schedule is optimistic.
Yeah, I'd certainly say that 5 wins is optimistic. I mean, just looking at it, I'd say the only teams on their schedule that I don't think will end up making a bowl game are obviously Colgate because they're not in the FBS and Boston College. Other than that, the other 10 teams we should all see during bowl season. So that kind of just puts into perspective how difficult this schedule is. Um, they can probably pull off that win against UConn. Maybe that's an upset they could lose that game too. So yeah, I think probably 3 wins is the bare minimum, but they could maybe get up to 5 or 6. But yeah, I think 5 and 7 is it's not out of the question, but definitely an optimistic prediction. We are going to go with that though for now. Obviously, it's a big drop off from 10-3, which we saw last season. But again, you just lose so much at the quarterback position. The schedule gets so much tougher. And yeah, everything else, I just don't see them repeating their season from last year. The projected win total is going to be 4.8 wins. And Vegas seems to be right with us, actually, as they have the over under set at 5.5. And it's a dead even split with minus 110 odds on either side. So I think our prediction here is going to end up being pretty accurate. Unfortunately for Syracuse fans, going to be a pretty big drop off from what you saw last season. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next